Story 1. Mine is more trivial than a lot of the other answers here, but any variation of "this is the answer," "this is the only answer," "this is the correct answer" on a very subjective, opinion-based post where each answer is probably just as valid as the rest. I understand the intent and sentiment, but it's so overdone now. Story 2. People who make assumptions about you based on your posts or comments that have no real logic. Opinions are complex. You can have opinions in common with people who are 90% or more unrelatable to you, with very different mindsets and personalities, and yet you will be assumed to be the same. Unless there is good evidence to the contrary, understand that people are multifaceted individuals and have very varied interests and opinions. There is far too much arbitrary, black and white reasoning here, but very little in life is that simple. Story 3. What it has become. Not too long ago, this was a platform for discussion. I always told people that it's a page where you get new insights and challenge your beliefs. To this day, I click the comments just to see. Bad joke. Obvious joke. F*** around and find out. Play stupid games. There was a time when you could be sure that there was one person in the comments. Interesting questions. Explanation? Explanation. Crazy deep insight into the process. Source. I was the captain of the ship you can see in the video. Today, the quality of the comments is comparable to Facebook comments. Story 4. When someone asks a genuine question and gets downvoted just because it's been asked before, it's unfair. Not everyone was born knowing Reddit's entire history. Story 5. There are a couple of major things for me. Everyone thinks they are an expert on every topic. People on Reddit think relationship advice is 99% of the time going to be, you need to leave them. It is just all they want to see happen. Subreddits are weirdly hive mind. Like if you are in a fandom subreddit, and your opinion is not in the majority or even remotely unpopular, you just get dogpiled and downvoted to nothing. Story 6. Getting downvoted in some subreddits for anything but the most popular opinion. I clicked a subreddit one time about a haircut or something and then had to mute 5 hairstyle subreddits a day on my feed for a week to get back to normal. Story 7. Self-important moderators. Needing to verify a certain number of karma to post or comment. Needing to format your post titles in a more complicated manner than APA citation. Downvoting sincere questions or respectful opposing views. Story 8. The lack of coherent writing and reading comprehension is concerning. It's not just small issues like spelling mistakes, using the wrong there, or a typing error. Even users who speak English as a second language are forgiven because it's clear they are trying. The problem is the large blocks of text without punctuation, poor framing of a question or discussion point, and the poster not reviewing what they've written for clarity. There is also absolutism in positions and a complete lack of nuance in responses. Additionally, people censoring their words is unhelpful. Either write the word sex or refrain from such self-censorship. Story 9. The politics. The echo chambers and circle jerks run hard, and this site is the epitome of being the worst 5% of the left. The amount of hatred, slander, and utter detachment from reality is insane. Story 10. I've been on Reddit for 2 weeks, and the number of repeat posts I've already seen is ridiculous. I feel like I see a "what's the most underrated movie?" post every day. I haven't been here long enough to tell what's a bot, but I assume most of that is. Story 11. When people get angry at you for asking a question on their post that they've already answered in the comments, I'm sorry, but I am not going to read every single comment on every post, especially if they are in the thousands. If you are getting the same question repeatedly, then edit the original post to include the answer. Story 12. Too much echo chamber nonsense everywhere. Everyone here is extremely far left and bans any rhetoric that opposes that mindset. It gets very old with the constant virtue signaling and hypocrisy. Story 13. The people that never go outside always assume that they know how the world works. They're always telling people that they don't believe certain things actually happened because they've never seen it happen. These are usually things that happen often to people too. Story 14. Unnecessary rudeness. If you don't like what you're reading, you can just keep scrolling. People getting criticized for asking an honest question. Weaponized downvoting. Story 15. Constant OnlyFans users posting to try and get subscribers in non-OnlyFans subreddits. Do you like my tattoo? Open the post. Come here and look at my photo. Forget all of you. Story 16. People who argue instead of debate. Your opinion is wrong, but I can't tell you why. So here's a link to a 45-minute YouTube video to show I'm right. Story 17. People automatically suggest the nuclear option when someone posts their grievances about something in their life. My husband has been doing this thing that I don't like. What should I do? This is manipulative behavior. Divorce him as soon as possible. Story 18. Most subreddits will ban you if you post anything that isn't nice and positive. Toxic positivity. I was banned from depression meals for agreeing that maybe bringing a baby spoon to eat their lunch as an adult at work isn't the best idea. Story 19. If a movie or book wasn't perfectly written, covered every possible plot hole, considered shifts in societal views in the future, then it's poor writing. Poor writing. Fantasy story lacking logic and realism. Poor writing. Story 20. You cannot have your own opinion. You have to moderate yourself or your account gets removed. See, I even held back with this comment and did not call out the people who just repeat common Reddit ideas. And my axe. This. Story 21. These how can I look better subreddits. I know I'm being judgmental and I feel bad about it, but it just makes me think of desperation, as most people there are attractive and giving off compliment me vibes. Story 22. The no one is responsible for anyone else mindset. Sure, legally it's true, but I just read a post about a missing vulnerable woman in London. Her social worker found her, but it was 3 a.m. and it was a hotel, so she just left her there. All the comments are saying, well, social workers don't work at night. What were they supposed to do? I don't know, call the police? I would do that for a stranger, let alone someone I was actually responsible for from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I see this mindset all the time on Reddit. Story 23. It's a double-edged sword, but the inability to look in the mirror and think introspectively before typing out a completely tone-deaf word salad and slapping that post button. The really egregious ones are so off-the-wall bonkers it creeps into comedic. But for the most part, the user base thinks they're way smarter and worldlier than they really are. Story 24. The new web user interface is worse in every way compared to the previous one. Sometimes clicking on the plus works as it should, and other times it opens a new page entirely. The subreddit page sort order is never saved, and the global preference is ignored. Story 25. Needless hate, though I don't find much of it where I venture. I do find some of the wittiest comments here, though. TikTok has the worst comment sections. Reddit has the best. Story 26. Not being able to properly filter content. I see too much about United States politics even in subreddits that should have nothing to do with it. Sometimes you just need a break from all this nonsense. Story 27. I can't distinguish artificial intelligence comments from people's, and also when I myself get accused or suspected of being a bot. Seriously, I confirm that I am not a bot several times a day. I rotate rabbits and spot motorcycles like it's a hobby of mine. I can't even. I'm forced to turn to deeply offensive and aggressive retorts because that's one thing that the artificial intelligences won't do, aggression and humor. But I have a somewhat special humor and it doesn't always click with people or work specifically well to identify me as human. It's very referential to the point of absurdity, and if there's one thing the artificial intelligences will do, it's involuntary absurdity. Story 28. The consistent bugs. For example, compose a comment, click the comment button to save it, and no errors, yet no comment appears at all. This happens way too frequently. Posts get their comments locked after you start writing a comment, but before you save it, and similarly for post deletion. Diagnostic messages should be clear. For example, if a comment is too long, specify that and provide the maximum size and the current size, instead of a generic error message that offers no indication of the problem. The same applies when commenting on a post that was removed or had comments locked after you started composing the comment but before saving it. Offer a useful diagnostic that clearly states the issue, rather than a server error or something similar. Some people are unpleasant, but such is life. Story 29, the people. When someone asks a question and people don't answer it, and then tell the original poster that they should do something else, at least answer the question anyway. Story 30. When you give a genuine, credible response and it simply gets downvoted for no reason. It's not a reflection on Reddit, but on some people who use it just to be unkind. It can sometimes be a behavior seen across a subreddit. Story 31. Opinions on Reddit, like on any social media really, are very binary. You are either for or against something. You are either absolutely over the moon about something, or you hate it with a burning passion. Opinions can be a sliding scale. You can see or read a thing and go meh, or well, I don't hate it, but not on Reddit apparently. Story 32. You say one incorrect thing, and 50 people will try to correct you on it instead of just upvoting one person who corrected it. Also, some will correct you in the most smug manner possible and call you an idiot. Like, okay, sorry I got the name of the trash can guy wrong in Star Wars. I'm surely a complete idiot for that. Story 33. When people on game subreddits post their stuff, let's say Terraria, what to do after I bought the game, what to do after I beat, let's say, a boss, there is a wiki, there are YouTube tutorials. Story 34. Two things. Moderators throwing their weight around and stupid echo chambers. Funny echo chambers are cool and generally harmless. The nasty ones reaffirm why Reddit users are made fun of so much online. Story 35. Some of the subreddits are over-moderated in my opinion. I think the community moderation, such as upvotes and downvotes, should be relied on more, with other moderation coming into play only when absolutely needed, like illegal pornography, spamming, threats, and so on. Story 36. In nearly every entertainment or media subreddit I've posted in, there's a group that believes if you don't share the same opinions they do, you deserve to be criticized and told how wrong you are. It's often very unwelcoming when I truly want to talk about something that I enjoy in a different way than they do. Story 37. A lot of the time, it seems like the popular opinions on here are the type of opinions that not a single person I've ever met in real life would have. It makes me wonder if it's just bots, or if many Reddit users just live on the fringes of society. Also, the echo chambers. Story 38. The constant left-wing propaganda in most big subreddits. The constant complaining and self-victimizing. It's astounding. It's also usually not very funny. The average dedicated user is probably quite unpleasant in real life. Story 39. What I hate about Reddit the most is that it used to be an amazing place. Back when Reddit was first starting out, it was the place you went to seek refuge from the toxic people on the internet, specifically from Dig, which suffered from all the most awful parts that plague Reddit today. You used to be able to make real relationships with people on Reddit, have real conversations and debates without all the garbage and drama. I used to have a Reddit sticker on my car, and I would have people walk up to me and say, "Hey, you use Reddit, awesome." I met legitimate friends in real life from Reddit. It was an amazing place that I honestly loved. Then Dig died because of its moderators, and they all came to Reddit, ruined it, stomped its head into the ground, shot it 19 times in the face, buried it in the woods for a month, dug it up and shot it 19 more times, tossed its mangled and rotting, parasite-infested corpse in the ocean, fished it out after 3 years of rot and decay, and what was left is the Reddit we have now. Story 40. I hate when you get randomly downvoted for no reason, and it only takes one before it snowballs. Reddit is very hive mind, and if you have a 0, others see it and just want to add to it. I am convinced they do not even read your comments sometimes and just go down the page clicking down-facing arrows on everyone with a score of 1 or below. Story 41. The only bad experience I had was with a moderator. But other than that, I didn't hate anything here on Reddit. Though most of the subreddits I am in are mainly games related, so not really that much of an issue. Story 42. Admin inflated upvotes on sponsored or boosted posts. Admin generated jokes about the dead internet, troll armies, or bot armies to hide admin-influenced activities on different subreddits. Generic conversation starter posts that obviously promote products or influencers in the replies. Story 43. Strategist companies brigading and spamming upvoting politics in non-political subreddits. Like, look at my cat wearing a Biden hat, and it magically gets a ton of upvotes in 1 minute. Story 44. Some idiotic subreddits like Pics and Interestingas will ban you based on participation in a different, unrelated subreddit. I happened to comment on a cross-posted post in a subreddit I never knew or joined and got banned. When I tried to appeal, they muted me directly. Make yourself a favor and quit those two subreddits. Otherwise, it's like walking on a minefield. Also, forget their moderators and whoever wrote that rule. I hope that person gets chronic diarrhea. Story 45. Getting banned from a subreddit for having a perspective that is not liberal enough, conservative enough, or centrist enough, especially from subreddits that have the potential for really interesting or thought-provoking topics. Story 46. Mods with ego. Bots. The new user interface that encourages an echo chamber. Echo chambers. The serial downvoters and upvoters. They don't even read, just click based on already existing votes. Story 47. The negativity. Reddit can be a great, funny, and entertaining place, but the depression of the people on it seeps through the screen. Seriously, some of you need to step away from your computers for the good of your health. Being on here all day would really depress you. I used to think Reddit wasn't as bad for my mental health as other social media, but I don't think that's true anymore. It's not as sinister as other sites, but it's incredibly negative. After taking a break recently, I've only logged in again over the past couple of days, and I can already see why I felt I needed that break.